Well, hello, Alan Aguirre with your Chameleon Church Monday night gathering. I have to remember what it is that I'm doing here. I think I'm supposed to turn off my camera, aren't I? That's right. Hey. So, what's happening? Um, that last song you heard, the chorus, how'd the chorus go? You have saved my life from death, my eyes from tears, my feet from falling. I wrote that when I was 17. I wrote the melody line and the lyric when I was 17. I played it live, for that first year or so, but I never released it on an album until 29 years later. Some trivia there for you. Hey, books, email, things of that nature, right here on the lower third. We are on week 3, right? Yep. And we are going to talk about Hanukkah tonight. So if you're in the feast book, which this is what this is about, Monday night for the next 2 or 3 months is going to be all about this book. If you don't have one, go ahead and get one. Get one for your friends. Get one for your family. Get one from your wives and your children. Yeah, something like that. Start my video. I don't want to start my video. What video am I supposed to start?
See you in Zoom, Alan.
What's that?
We can't see you in Zoom.
Really?
Really? Hi.
Oh.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But you can hear me, right?
Yes.
It's like every Monday, we're starting over. I don't understand what it is, but yeah. Anyway, for the next 2 or 3 months, maybe we'll figure out what it is that we're actually doing here. We're in this book, The Feast Unlocked. So if you go towards the back, there's a thing about Hanukkah. I think it's after in conclusion, right? Yeah. So it's chapter 10, Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah. We're going to be talking about that tonight because Hanukkah begins in 72 hours. And the other thing that's going to happen in 72 hours are the ladies. The ladies are going to do their little thing called, I'm not trying to demean it. They're going to be doing their live stream broadcast. Is that better? Starting Thursday night, first Thursday of every month. And they're calling it Mighty Women of the Word, right? And I have no audio. I have no video. I have nothing. No intro, no advert. There's a reason why, but I'm not going to get into that. So I need to figure that out. It's not me. I don't have any assets. I have none of the graphic assets that were used for the anyway. So the Feast Unlocked, Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah, session number 3. Are we all ready to go? Everybody can hear everything. Everybody can see everything. Apparently you couldn't see me at the very beginning, but now you can. So you guys didn't see any of the lower thirds. Do I need to start over? No. We'll have plenty of time to do that. Okay, let us begin unless somebody has something to say. Oh, remember, you have permission to interrupt me. You have permission to say, hey, Alan, excuse me, if you have questions or whatever. Please, let's participate. All right, here we go. Thank you, Father. Father, we thank you. The fact that that what's happening over there is still happening, and we are about to enter into Feast of Dedication is a little it's concerning. It's a drag. There's a couple things that Jesus said. Don't let it happen. Well, pray that it doesn't happen on the Sabbath. And what happened on October 7th was a double Sabbath. And pray that it doesn't happen in winter. Yeah. All right, Hanukkah. Invasion, revolt, lights. At that time, the Feast of Dedication took place at Jerusalem. It was winter. And Jesus was walking in the temple in the colonnade of Solomon. John chapter 10, 22 through 23. We see in the Gospels that the majority of Jesus' ministry took place in the Galilee of the Gentiles, where he was also headquartered in Capernaum. We also saw that he made pilgrimage to Jerusalem for the feast, but would sleep in Bethany, some 2 miles away. And here's your thing. Oh, yeah. Kevin's asking, what day is it? Let's see, can we bring this up here? He's going, what day is it? What day is it? I'll tell you what day it is. Oops.
It's Monday.
That's right. It's Monday.
It's Monday.
It's Monday. This should be bigger. I'm going to have to make this larger. Let's see. Can we make it bigger? All right. Here we go. That should disappear all by itself. So if you take a look at John 11:18, Matthew 21:17, Mark 11:11, Jesus never slept in Jerusalem. He would go to Jerusalem for the feasts, but he didn't sleep there. He slept in Bethany. The only night that we know of that he slept in Jerusalem was in Caiaphas' dungeon. He would stay at the home of Martha, Mary, and Lazarus. In John chapter 10, we find that Jesus is in Jerusalem during the Feast of Dedication, Hebrew Hanukkah, also known as the Festival of Lights. That's right. Hanukkah, or the Romanized Hanukkah, was first discussed in chapter 2 when the 7 rabbinic mitzvahs, commands not found in Scripture, were initially addressed. I don't think we've done that yet. So, yeah. On the 25th of Kislev are the days of Hanukkah, which are 8. These were appointed a festival with Hallel and Thanksgiving. You can find that in the Gemara, Shabbat 21b, but most of you aren't going to be reading Torah reading the Talmud, so take my word for it. Hanukkah, the Feast of Dedication, is the Jewish festival of the rededication of the temple. It also commemorates Israel's victory over the Greeks during the Maccabee revolt. It is an 8-day event beginning on the 25th of the 9th month, known by its Babylonian name of Kislev. Hanukkah is probably one of the best-known Jewish holidays because of its proximity to Christmas. Many think of this holiday as the Jewish Christmas, adopting many of the Christmas customs. It is bitterly ironic that this holiday, which has its roots in a revolution against assimilation and the suppression of Jewish religion, has become the most assimilated secular holiday on our calendar. There's your source for that information. Though not found in the TaNaKh, the story of Hanukkah is found in the Apocrypha's 1st and 2nd Maccabees of the Septuagint. Sorry, my mouth is not working. The Mishnah and the Talmud. All right, here's a little brief history. Invasion. Alexander the Great's conquest of Persia, Syria, Egypt, and Israel in 332 BCE established a moderate version of Hellenistic culture in the region. The region was allowed to continue observing their various forms of religion while the study of the Greek language, customs, and dress were encouraged. Over a century later, around 168 BCE, one of Alexander's successors, a Syrian king named Antiochus IV of the Seleucid dynasty, controlled the region and began to persecute and oppress the Jews for various reasons which are debated by biblical scholars and academics alike. Here's what we do know. These changes and restrictions were severe. Here we go. A Hellenistic high priest was appointed to the temple. A statue of Apollo was erected in the temple. Swine became a mandatory altar sacrifice, thereby desecrating the temple further. The sacrificing of pigs on the altar began on Kislev, December 25th, in honor of Apollo's birthday. Dum, dum, dum. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's Twilight Zone, right? Or something like that. Hey, how interesting, right? Gee, what a coinkydink. December 25th. What? Does that ring a bell with anybody? Torah scrolls were confiscated and burned, and the study of Torah was outlawed. Eating pork was now mandatory, and the refusal to eat swine was punishable by death. Circumcision was illegal and punishable by death. The observance of Shabbat was also made illegal, and pagan worship was legally forced upon Israel. Is there anybody out there watching live, or if you're watching this later on, leave a comment. Is it possible that there's anybody out there that still thinks that none of this could ever happen again, especially in this country? Oh, man. What are you talking about, Alan? Well, is it possible that swine might become a mandatory altar sacrifice? How about Torah scrolls being confiscated and burned? Outlawing the study of Torah. How about mandatory swine consumption and the refusal to eat that swine punishable by death? Circumcision being made illegal and punishable by death. Is it possible that any of this could ever happen again? How about in this country? The observance of Shabbat also made illegal, and pagan worship was legally forced upon Israel. I know for a fact there are Jews in one of the most prominent neighborhoods here in town. Park City is liberal, and they're prominent Jews, not necessarily observant, but they're wondering whether it's wise for them to put their Hanukkahs in their windows. My daughter lives in the Jewish quarter in Dallas. She's wondering if it's wise for her to do the same. I'm going to do it no matter what. Now, it is said that a respected elder of 90 years old, Rabbi Eliezer, was ordered to eat pork to set an example for the others. When he refused, he was instructed to make it seem as if he was eating the swine by holding it to his lips. Upon that refusal, he was executed. Revolt. Now, there are varying accounts of the Maccabee uprising. Simply put, the outrageous actions of Antiochus IV incited a rebellion organized by the Hasmonean family of Mattatyahu, or Matthew, the high priest. The Maccabees, as the resistance became to be known, were led by the 5 sons of Mattatyahu, the eldest being named Judah. They waged a victorious 3-year campaign, culminating with the Maccabees' ordering of the construction of a new altar and the cleansing of the temple for rededication. The rededication took place on the 25th of the 9th month, known as Kislev, in 165 BCE. Karen Redmond, let Alyssa know that you are not able to get into Zoom. Thank you. One account suggests that 2 factions joined forces against Antiochus IV, the nationalists led by Mattatyahu, and the religious traditionalists Hasidim, the Hasidic forerunners of the Pharisees. No direct relation to the modern Hasidic movement. One narrative has a Syrian army commander demanding that Mattatyahu be a community example by sacrificing a pig on a pagan altar. Mattatyahu not only refuses, but like Phineas, kills the Hebrew who volunteers to follow the order of making the abominable sacrifice, and the Syrian commander as well. The killing of the commander and the subsequent attack on the Syrian army that followed is said to have initiated the revolt. Another narrative notes this ragamuffin rebellion, fighting a guerrilla war against well-trained and well-armed mercenary Greeks, as being made up of simple Torah-observant farmers armed with pitchforks, spears, and rocks from the ground. This is where you have your Tom Slick, hey, yay. I don't have that soundbite. All right, lights. This next section is called lights. Tradition holds, as recorded in the Gemara, that after defeating Antiochus IV, I've said his name like 5 different ways, and driving his forces out from the temple, very little of the prescribed oil to light and keep the temple menorah lit was left or undefiled by the Syrian Greeks. There was only 1 day's worth left, and proper scriptural preparation of this oil was said to take up to 8 days. The miracle of lights is that this 1 day supply of oil lasted and burned for the entire 8-day period needed to prepare the fresh batch. Judah, the leader of the Maccabees and the eldest son of the now deceased high priest Mattatyahu, instituted an 8-day festival to commemorate the miracle. Josephus, in his book Antiquity of the Jews, gives an account of Judah's establishing of the annual and extravagant 8-day festival, memorializing the rededication of the temple and the restoration of Torah observances referring to the feasts as lights. Now, Judas celebrated the festival of the restoration of the sacrifices of the temple for 8 days and omitted no sort of pleasures thereon. But he feasted them upon very rich and splendid sacrifices, and he honored God and delighted them by hymns and psalms. Nay, they were so very glad at the revival of their customs when, after a long time of intermission, they unexpectedly had regained the freedom of their worship, that they made it a law for their posterity, that they should keep a festival on account of the restoration of their temple worship for 8 days. And from that time to this, we celebrate this festival and call it lights. A suggestion by some scholars holds that since no mention of the miracle of lights in correlation with the rededication of the temple is found outside of the Gemara, some 600 years after the fact, including the 2 books of Maccabees, is it possible that the 8-day festivities founded by Judah to remember the rededication of the temple and the restoration of Torah observance was a belated observance of Sukkot, which they had not been allowed to observe in a Greek occupation? All right. Hanukkah today. Are there any questions? All right. As stated in chapter 2, which we didn't read yet, Hanukkah is a traditional Jewish holiday, whereas all the observances we have studied thus far are scriptural and have the unique delineation of mine, as in God's, making them God's holidays, not man-made holy days. We'll get to that in a second. The question is, do we need to use a 9 branch? Yes, that would be a Hanukkah. This needs to be bigger. I'm not sure why this isn't bigger. But we need to make that bigger. Bigger fonts and all that kind of groovy stuff. Oh, there we go. Now it's bigger. We'll get to that in a minute. All right. Hanukkah is also not a religious holiday per se. Unlike the religious foundation and significance found in all of the feasts of Leviticus 23. The traditional candle lighting is as religious as Hanukkah gets. But, for example, our family thanks God for the continued deliverance of his people and the land, something that is really prominent this year. Also, during lighting the Hanukkah candles, we pray for the peace of Jerusalem and Messiah's return, because Jerusalem will see no peace until he does return. I think that's in the New Testament. With Hanukkah candle lighting, the candles are displayed in a candelabrum called a Hanukkah. See? we have props tonight. All right. This is a candelabrum called a Hanukkah, where a menorah has 6 branches. I didn't bring my menorah. It's not in my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 6 branches, plus a centered branch that is known as a shamash, the servant, displaying a total of 7 candles. A Hanukkah has 8 branches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, right? Plus the shamash, displaying a total of 9 candles, 1 for each night of the festival. So I like these. We have these are some of the candles, Hanukkah candles that we have. No, these colors do not correspond to the ephod. That's the question being asked. It's just, I've got like, I don't know, half a dozen of these. I've got one right back here that will be lit. Right. So yeah, no. Okay. So we have these candles. You can use these. These are pretty cool. The dual color. And then we got these. And so what you do, we'll put a blue, white, right? So what you do is you have, let's say this is your slave, and on night 1, and you light them going right to left. So right to left versus what we would normally do is left to right. Son of a! I'm just kidding. So you have your slave up there, and then let's say this is night 1. And then what you'll do is this is not going to stay. You'll light that one, and then you'll use that to light this one. You got that right? Alyssa's cringing over there. She's like, oh my God, he's really doing this. This won't stay. But see if that, okay, there we go, watch. All you new people, please come back next week. It will be a little bit better than this. Just a little bit better. And you'll take the slave and you'll light that and put the slave back. So these two will be lit day one. These two will be lit day one. And then, so you know what, on Thursday night, how about the ladies do it better than me?
I've got a trick for that.
That was exhausting. Oh, man. I thought that was going to be a good idea. Thought about that pretty much all day. Oh, man. I can only imagine if you've never... So is that... I have to check. Is this Nathalie was the entire Davis family? Your poor family. Your poor family's going, oh my gosh. And you travel to Utah to hang out with this guy? Okay. Now, some other traditional parts of the celebration are eating fried foods. I almost said fried wood, such as latkes. Woohoo! I like latkes. Yeah. Did you know I was raised by a Lithuanian stepfather, and so we had kuglis all the time, which is basically baked latkes instead of fried latkes. And the reason being is probably because they're from Vilnius, the capital, and Vilnius is considered the Jerusalem of the Baltic because the sheer amount of Jews in that city, in Lithuania, and that they were probably Jews. And then my dad said, no, that's not possible. Why? I asked, and he said, because my dad hated Jews, my grandfather. And I go, well, there's your first clue. Latkes. Woohoo! Because of the importance of oil to Hanukkah and playing the dreidel, gambling with a squared top. The traditional explanation of this game, dreidel, I didn't bring a dreidel. I should have brought another dreidel. I could have another prop. The traditional explanation of this game is that during the time of Antiochus oppression, those who wanted to study Torah, an illegal activity, would conceal their activity by playing gambling games with a top, a common and legal activity, whenever an official or inspector was within sight. And you guys, pre-practice mandatory with props, I know, right? You guys all know what a dreidel looks like, right? It's like a top, a little spin it. Why don't I have one? Sorry. Dreidels, a widely recognized symbol representing Hanukkah, and I'll be posting pictures of the Bad Brains dreidel like I do every year. Look at Alyssa went to go get a dreidel. She's gonna trump me. Okay. Dreidels, a widely recognized symbol representing Hanukkah, are spinning tops marked with the 4 Hebrew letters of Nun, Gimel, Hai, and Shin, an acronym for the Hebrew phrase Nez Gadol Hayasham, which means a great miracle happened there, in reference to the miracle of lights, the oil. Did you grab a dreidel? Oh, okay. For gameplay, the letters also stand for the Yiddish words neat, nothing, ganz, all, alb, half, and shetel, put, also known as the rules for the game of dreidel. All right, number 1, everyone puts in a gelt. Today, usually a large coin made out of chocolate. A player spins the dreidel. Landing on the nun means nothing happens. Landing on Gimel means you get the whole pot. Remember, kids, this is gambling. Feel free to print these and have yourself a merry old time. Land on high, and you only get half the pot. And when you land on shin, you put a gelt into the pot, empty pot. Everyone puts in a gelt, and you keep playing until it's time for more latkes. Does that make sense? No? Well, if this doesn't make sense to any of you, it'll make sense on Thursday because the ladies will do a better job of explaining all of this. Oh, look. Show us. We'll speak so you can show up in the main screen.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know you had it on that. Look, I found one. It's very small. It's got the names on it.
That's the one I was looking for. I think I have a little one like that.
I think we all have a bunch of these same ones. Here you go. That's it.
Thank you. See, she made me look bad. Gift giving, though not an original tradition to Hanukkah, has become as popular as playing the dreidel or the giving and receiving of gelts. So, how do you spell Hanukkah? Everybody ready? We get asked this a lot, and I have no problem repeating this answer because it's good. It's good stuff. Hanukkah is not an alternative to Christmas in our community or within our family. As a family, we didn't actually celebrate Christmas per se. Based on our understanding of the roots of Christmas, we never did the tree, ornaments, lights, wreath, or nativity, all of the paraphernalia and traditions that accompany the event, because of the simple fact that the observance has absolutely nothing to do with the birth of Messiah. Sukkot does, as we are going to explain in chapter 8. We hold to the position that Christianizing paganism, syncretism, the mixture of the holy and the profane, is highly frowned upon by God. And it's in the Bible, right there. Now, we briefly discussed this and saw this in part throughout this journey of unlocking the feast that we haven't actually started yet. And it can be seen all throughout Israel's struggle of obedience in the TaNaKh. There was one year, I think Christina was working working on site somewhere. I was at home with all the kids. And we went out and we got a Christmas tree and some real cheap decorations, and we set it up. So when Christina got home, she walked into the house. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. If any of my kids were here, they would be able to remind you about that hilarious thing. My wife was like, "Get this out of the house." We're like, "What? What?" Little Christmas tree. It was funny. Remember Shondel's paper mache Christmas tree from her job one year? And we threw it up against the wall during Hanukkah?
I don't remember. My first year there, my coworkers couldn't comprehend the fact that we didn't do Christmas and sent me home with a piece of a display from the cosmetic store.
It's funny. All right. This is really important. If there's any takeaway from this, because I mean, again, this isn't a mandated thing to do. This is traditional. It's fun. Have a good time. It's not, anyway, but this is the part you need to understand. Unlike the Romanized Western Church's alternative, known as the Mass of Christ, Christ's Mass, the celebration of Hanukkah isn't a good religious exercise rooted in paganism, right? Because you can tell people all day long about the paganism of Christmas or the Mass of Christ, and they're going to tell you how, well, we're not celebrating it like that. We're not being pagans about it. We're blah, blah, blah. And they justify what they're doing, right? Well, Hanukkah isn't like that. In fact, Hanukkah is rooted in aligning with the absolutes of God's scriptural instructions in the face of pagan worship. It's literally the exact opposite. Good luck convincing your friends and family of the difference. They probably won't get it. Now, before our family started celebrating Hanukkah, what we did do during the Christmas holiday season was a traditional Christmas Day meal. It was actually more of a Thanksgiving Day meal that we prepared and served for others, whether it was the homeless or whatever. It started out as a way to minister to seminary students in the area that did participate in Christmas and that were away from home and family. This grew to additional friends, family members, and others joining us that were also away from family and who did observe Christ's Mass. We did this as a ministry for them simply because people tend to become homesick and lonely during this time. Also, not everyone around the table professed the Christian faith, so it was quite a diverse group. Now, I know there are people out there that don't approve of us doing that, but then they also probably don't feed the poor on any given day of the week. But their religious spirit, "Oh, Alan, you shouldn't be doing that. You're doing Christmas." No, we're not. But they also don't like my earrings. They also don't like a lot of things that we do around here. So, always consider the source. We welcomed everyone with open arms, explaining that this wasn't a formal or religious gathering and that it had to do with friendship and community more than anything else. We gave a very basic and brief version of the concept behind the holiday for the benefit of those that did observe, explaining how it wasn't based on any biblical text whatsoever and pointing out what the biblical text did state. It was informative, non-judgmental, and the focus was family, friends, food, and fun. This is when I usually post a link to a blog entry that I made a gazillion years ago about Christmas and why I love Christmas and why it was my favorite holiday. Do you remember that? And Alyssa's always very faithful to post that link so you can go and read that blog entry. Thank you. We played an always entertaining game of White Elephant, listened to the classic holiday songs, including the classic duet between David Bowie and Bing Crosby. How do you insert, I had to figure out a way, how do you insert David Bowie into a book about theology, doctrine, and apologetics? Well, here you go. And attempted to bring joy to their lives during what was potentially the loneliest time of the year. We do the exact same thing today with Hanukkah. Alyssa and her husband have been a part of our community for, I don't know how long now, 14 years? How long it's been. But She can attest to all of this. It was a ministry. We either did it with the homeless or we did it with seminary students and Christians that had no family and whatever. And it's called loving people into a right relationship with Jesus. And we would explain, this is why we don't do Christmas. This is why we do Hanukkah. And more importantly, this is why we're doing this for you. We're serving you. Because that's what Jesus would do. What do you mean? He wouldn't do that? Really? When was the last time you had dinner with prostitutes, male and or female? One of the reasons why they didn't believe that Jesus was Messiah was because he did have dinner with male and female prostitutes. So you pick. Make dinner for seminary students or prostitutes, but at least pick one and then do it and love them and serve them. There's still no tree, no Christmas ornaments, lights, wreath, or nativity scene. There are the typical traditional Hanukkah decorations, music and foods, potato latkes, and jelly donuts. Alyssa, I gotta find jelly donuts. Our Hanukkah party is often held toward the end of the 8 days, so menorahs and Hanukkahs are alight with candles. There might be videos of Hanukkah parodies from artists like the Maccabees. They just made a new song, Safrain posted. They have a new song. And the movie Fiddler on the Roof played on a loop in the background. It's a come-and-go party, a sort of buffet where everyone is welcome to come and enjoy themselves. Christians, Mormons, Jews, pagans, Buddhists, and the non-affiliated. This is what we do. We eventually have a huge round of white elephant gift exchange with everyone, where we explain in a very basic and brief way the origins of Hanukkah, how it isn't based on any biblical text whatsoever, and what the biblical text does state. It's informative, non-judgmental, with the whole focus being family, friends, food, and fun. Again, it's not a formal or religious gathering. It's about friendship and community more than anything else. We still listen to the classic duet between David Bowie and Bing Crosby. Got him in there twice. In the week leading up to the party, as individual households, we light the Hanukkah each night and recount the story of the Maccabees and God's deliverance and love. We pray for the peace of Jerusalem more this year than ever, sing the Shema, and recall the various times God has delivered Israel from her enemies, how he has delivered us, how he has delivered me from my enemies, and proclaim the salvation and deliverance we have through Messiah's love. As far as the giving of gifts, the children receive one on, this changes every year. The children receive one on each of the 8 nights, usually pajamas and small items, and we have a meal gift exchange as a community. It is an old custom to display the Hanukkah where its light can be seen from outside, which is what I was referring to before earlier, how there are literally Jews across the country right now, potentially even the world outside of Israel, that are really concerned on whether they should put their Hanukkah out in the window for everyone to see it, because that and your mezuzah are basically screaming, Jews, we're here, we are. Since the window is optimal for this, we have an electric Hanukkah that we use, thus lowering the fire hazard. Like many families, we have multiple Hanukkahs around the house. There's something special about winter nights, a fire in the fireplace, a glass of wine, and the glow of the Hanukkah lights. In summary, Jewish holiday Hanukkah. Significance: celebrates the rededication of the temple after being defiled by Syrian Greeks. Customs: the lighting of candles displayed on a Hanukkah for 8 nights, 1 candle for each night. Fried foods: gift giving, gelt, and playing the dreidel. Length: 8 days. Between Kislev, the 9th, 25th, Tevet, 10th, 2-3. There is a lot of feasting, rejoicing, partying, to be completely honest, that we're encouraged and instructed to participate in before the Lord. Deuteronomy 14. I fail to see the legalism in that. In fact, a lot of this partying is based on his blessings in our lives. Granted, these blessings are predicated on our obedience. Be careful to obey all these regulations I am giving you, so that it may always go well with you and your children after you, because you will be doing what is good and right in the eyes of the Lord your God. Blessings predicated on our obedience, as also found in the epistles of the New Testament. Remember, Jesus is our salvation. Torah is for blessing. Obedience to his commandments, Torah, is the sign of our love towards him. All right, we're going to take a quick little break. Button pushing, button pushing. All right, that's on, that's on. You guys are there. Centered mass. Well, how's everybody doing?
It's Monday.
Yes, it is. Comments. Let me see here. Yeah. Hey, what's going on?
Good stuff, man. I sent you an audio file for your applause if you want it.
Oh, awesome. Where'd you send it?
Co-host and host. I didn't know which one would get through. So anyway, just an aside there.
Okay. Thank you.
We didn't you're very welcome. My Hanukkah doesn't really look like Hanukkah from a long distance, so we put the menorah in the window, and then that's in Alabama, and then we headed to Thailand. So it's sitting in the window, but it doesn't have any candles burning, obviously. I think that's a great tradition.
Is he still talking, or is he done talking?
No, I just said I think it's a great
It
tradition.
is.
Agreed. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's all right.
My
Over.
may not be that good, but anyway, I love being here with y'all. Huh?
Thanks for being here. Yeah, you have to say since we can't see you, you're like when you talk, you have to say over.
Oh, yeah, over and out.
So you guys doing good?
Yeah,
Over.
God's leading us to a lot of people, meeting people from all over the world, and just trying to not stuff Yeshua down their throats, but just share with them as we can. I mean, I always look for ways, I'm sure you guys do too, into the conversation where you can talk about how excited we are to shine for our Savior, man. So yeah.
Well, hey, well,
I have a question.
thanks for popping up and saying hi.
No, over.
Over.
So, Ellen,
I have a question about we've only been doing this 4 years, and so my first time running into someone who is feast observant but says, "Oh, I don't celebrate Hanukkah." You know, Yeshua really wasn't there.
They probably don't do birthdays either.
Oh yeah, could be, but why is that? Because I mean, it does say he was in the portico or the colonnade, and I had to look up where that was on the mount. Like, okay, was it like 20 miles away, or what is the problem that people seem to have with that?
It's called a religious spirit, and so because it's not in Leviticus 23, because it's not a mandated feast, right? Which is and we explain this I just finished explaining it for the last 50 minutes, what it is and what it isn't. Which is why I set it all up the way I did. We know for a fact Jesus lived in Galilee. We know for a fact that he went to Jerusalem for the feasts. That 90% of his time was spent in Galilee, Nazareth, and the Galilee area, not in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And so why was he in Jerusalem during the Feast of Dedication, if not to be participating? Because he had no need to be there in the winter when he could have been further, when he could have been back at the Galilee, like where his ministry was in the Galilee area. He did very little in Jerusalem. The only time he's in Jerusalem is during the feast, which is why and the reason why we predicate all of that is because he was in Jerusalem during the Feast of Dedication, which 1 + 1, we can assume, we can then come to a conclusion that, he was probably there because of the feast, because he didn't live there, he lived in the Galilee, and he only went to Jerusalem for feasts. So because of that, but you know what, even if he didn't, I do Thanksgiving. Jesus didn't do Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. We do birthdays. I don't know if Jesus did birthdays. Jews, it all depends. There are people out there. They're not. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but they're legalistic and they're ritualistic, legalistic, and they're very well. It's a religious spirit. People have a problem with the fact that we suggest that you send in a first fruits offering on the new moon. Well, that's not in the Bible, Alan. You're adding to the Torah. And I'm like, okay, well then don't give it on the new moon. Give it on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, I'm serious. Out of all you people, Alyssa's probably the only one that really knows what we're talking about because we don't talk about it. We're not trying to shame people, but there are people out there that will literally have a problem with that because it's not in the Bible. They have a problem with the way we keep Sabbath or the way we don't keep Sabbath. They have a problem with the earrings because, well, the Torah doesn't say I can't wear earrings. In fact, the Torah says they wore earrings, men and women. You know what I'm saying? It's a religious spirit. That's why people do that. We do Purim. We do a Purim party with, but then they might say, well, but at least Purim's in the Bible. Yeah, okay. They drive automobiles. That's not in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be a jerk, and I just censored myself really quickly and really, really well just now. I think there's children in the house. If you want to be weird about things, that's what they do. I mean, what could we possibly do when it comes to Hanukkah that would grieve the Lord? You know what? Yeah. One of the things that Jesus said that qualified him as Messiah was that the poor got the gospel. God's heart is for the poor. He said, the poor you will always have. One of the reasons why the 10 tribes were scattered to the wind was because they mistreated the poor. A Roman centurion of the Italian brigade has a memorial built up in heaven in the throne room for 2 reasons. Why? because of his giving. One of the reasons was because of his giving to the Jewish poor. If feeding the poor on Hanukkah is a bad thing, like I said, I guarantee you, when was the last time they did that? When was the last time they had a prostitute over at their house for dinner? See, those people don't do those things. They're legalistic. They're like the Pharisees. The Pharisees wouldn't get their hands dirty. They wouldn't roll up their sleeves and get to work. No, but they judged those that did because they didn't do it the way they thought they should do it. It's the same thing. It's a religious spirit. I'm sorry if that's a long answer, but it's a triggering question.
I kind of was a little worried about that. No, thank you.
Wait, did you just say you were afraid to trigger me?
Oh yeah. It's fun to watch, but you don't know where it's going. No, but thank you for that. We just we're fairly new to this, and we celebrate Purim and Hanukkah, and it's just, when you encounter these new things that people throw at you, I was just wondering,
Sure.
So
no,
I
understand. I understand, and I'm passionate about this stuff because, again, we do a lot of work with the poor, and anyone that's going to, what I'm saying, they will use religion to not have to interact with the poor. A lot of people do that would say something like that. And that just gets, and you just put a target on your back. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to come at you, not you, but, so yeah, because one of the things we roll a lot of these things into the poor on occasion, This is a good one. This is a good one for the poor. Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
Sorry.
Okay.
One other thing I would mention, just when you come up against that argument, Yeshua was not shy about calling things out that he had a problem with. I think if he really had a problem with it while he was there, he would have been flipping tables. He wouldn't have been hanging out there without saying something about it if he really had a problem with it. Yeah. Just a thought. Because it's not like he held his tongue when it was,
right.
Something against the Father's word. So,
yeah.
So we have some questions. Let me see. I don't know if you can see them, Alyssa, in YouTube. Here's one.
Yeah, I copied one to you
Yeshua only went to Hanukkah the last day and declared himself the light. Why do we have to keep every day of it? One, we don't know that he only went to Hanukkah the last day. We don't know that. It doesn't suggest that. So that's an assumption. Two, you don't have to keep any day of these days. They're not mandatory. This is a voluntary activity. You don't have to keep Hanukkah in any way, shape, or form. We choose to, and we put it in the book because, well, it's a thing, and we decide to put it in the book and explain why we do it and how we do it, because and why we do it the way we do it. But no one has to do Hanukkah. No one has to do Purim. So yeah. Not mandated. What else? Let me see. Is there anything else? Okay. This is where I pull out the romper room thing, and I see.
Hey, Alan.
Yes.
Hey.
How's it going?
Hey, good. It's going well. How about you? Here's Leanne's hand.
It's going all right.
Leanne's camera shy. You just get to see her hand.
She is. She's always like on the sideline like that. What is up with that?
I'm right here.
I know, but we can't see you. What if we want to see you and not him?
That's not possible.
Correct.
So, the whole idea of this whole just navigating this season. As I thought back, we stopped doing Christmas just a pretty short time ago, 3-4 years maybe. And honestly, until this last year, it was because Leanne had learned so much more of this stuff, and I was kind of along for the ride. And it was in February that something hit me. That's a story for another time, that I really got on board with this, and things are fantastic. I struggle a little bit this time of year between the not participating with things, but again, I don't want to raise that freak Torah flag and that type of thing as well.
Wait, you struggle with what? Not observing Christmas or Hanukkah?
Well, not the not observing Christmas, mainly around the Christmas thing. I don't have a problem not observing it. But where I work, I mean, everybody does it. There's always the little holiday party or the holiday luncheon, and it's there. It's like, oh, we're going to have the staff meeting and then the little holiday luncheon at the same time. So and it's not always overtly Christmas, except of course for the whole Secret Santa thing and all that stuff. It's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And why not? Well, because I don't want to, and they don't give me too much of a hard time. But I think it's funny. In a couple of years previous, I was trying to learn about this, and I think it was kind of a religious spirit thing. I was much more on the, I'm not going to talk about it, not going to acknowledge it, not going to look at people that wear Christmas sweaters, because I, just, not figuring out how to do it. But then I think just over this year, I've relaxed. I don't know, maybe discernment, maybe. But now a couple of people that work around me, I mean, I work in an area, there's 8 of us, 7 are women, 6 of them are Catholic. Getting into the discussion why I don't celebrate Christmas will not go well or easily or anything. But they kind of accept that I don't really do it. Of course, where I work, they do the whole, we adopt a family, an underprivileged family, this stuff. And so they bought bikes for this family that has 3 children. And one of them came up and said, hey, Danny, we're like a week before we do this, if we brought him in, would you help us put it together?
Yeah.
Would you help us assemble him? And someone else said, well, don't ask him that. He doesn't celebrate Christmas. I said, yeah, I'll help you put the bikes together for kids, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
No big deal. It's just, but I think a couple of years ago, I might have been weird about it. But it's funny, the more I learn and the more I learn about, following Torah and celebrating the feast and these things, the easier it is to be relaxed about all this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense or not.
It absolutely does. Great question. Here's the thing, man. We have family, the majority of our family and the majority of our Christian friends, and I've mentioned this for years in various ways, various times. The majority of the people in my life don't observe, don't believe like we do. They just don't. Friends, family, we're talking lifelong Christian friends. The majority of people in our life do not observe. And I say that a lot because I try to emphasize that because I think a lot of people out there think that we live in right, Alyssa? They think we live in a cocoon. They think we live in this sheltered little commune in the middle of nowhere. And it's like in Northern California in the woods, there's a place called Santa's Village. And it's like literally walking into the North Pole. I think there are people out there that think we live in this Torah town or something, you know what I'm saying? And there's nothing tainting us from the outside world. And that's just the furthest thing from the truth. That's ridiculous. That's not true. I mean, we've had people visit us, and they wouldn't ask me because, but they would take the Hellermans aside and ask them, "Are you guys allowed to have jobs outside of the community? Are you guys allowed to have friends?
Can you leave?
Can you leave? Yeah. Can you have jobs out? Can you have friends? What about family? Can you visit your family back in wherever?" And they're like, "Yeah." People think we're a cult. Well, they think I'm a cult leader. So, the majority of the people in my life don't observe like we do. That means they do Christmas. That means we're invited to Christmas things. Not now. I mean, not since being in Utah, because we're all alone here. But like in Dallas, family and and I know for a fact it would bother Torah people. I don't know if you can see that. That we would go to our family's Christmas things because we would, to honor our, to play nice with our family and all that. I mean, it serves one of the best things. Here's here's a lesson that Lance Wallnau learned. He said he grew up in a Jewish family, and they were secular Jews. And when he got saved, he lived in the basement of his family's house or something like that. He shared this information publicly, but So he's a Christian now, born again Christian, spirit filled, on fire for God, and his family was having like this crazy, regular secular party upstairs, and he's hiding downstairs, in the basement. And his dad said, "Yeah, I forgot exactly what he said, but his dad said something really snarky to him about how, ooh, your God, he's so scared of us up here in the top of the, he's hiding down here in the basement with you." It's like, it just doesn't make any sense. We misrepresent God when we do stuff like that, when we show, some weird thing like that. Anyway, Lance put it really great. I forgot how he said it, but it was really witty, really funny what his dad said. And it quickened him to his heart. I'm not being invited to party with Baal of Peor. I'm not going to be sacrificed. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going anywhere to do anything pagan. Right? There's none of this in my home. People would have a hard time because we'd go to Renaissance festivals. Alan, they're pagan, but I'm not involved with any of the paganism at these pagan festivities. I would go to pagan places and participate in these. Well, I would go to these pagan places, but I didn't involve myself or participate in the pagan things. And there's a bunch of paganism in pagan festivals or pagan places that we just didn't do. An example: when you cross a bridge, you touch the totem on the way, the whatever it is on the way across the bridge, and when you get off the bridge, well, we wouldn't do that, right? Things like that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? In my line of work, we had to go to we went to places most Christians wouldn't go, and most religious Christians would demonize us for going or being participants in. Well, that's up here. What we're talking about is way down here. If family members are having a whatever Christmas get together or whatever, we'll go. Because my not going isn't going to be any witness at all. An invisible witness or whatever, you know what I'm saying? There's no witness to it. But if I show up and I'm not a jerk and whatever, they're going to remember that. But they're also going to, they already know. They already know everything they ever need to know about me and my position on things. Not showing up just makes me look like a dork. Showing up and being a nice guy and not upsetting anybody. Woo, did you see that? That's a good thing, right? My daughter, I know there are people that get upset with my oldest daughter because she runs a huge angel tree gift thing. She's in the middle of it right now, and she asked if I would let people know. I think they have 100 more kids to go. I don't know what it was. Anyway, but they are serving the prostitutes and strippers of Dallas, Fort Worth. And they have this huge gift thing where it's an angel tree thing, right? And you guys know what that is, right? Where you buy gifts for these disenfranchised families, for these families. Well, the mothers of these children are prostitutes and strippers. And they have a ministry to those people. And they bless and love on those kids because, well, you don't want to know the kind of lives those children have. And my daughter, the ministry that she's involved with, they do this every year. And I get flack from Torah people because what is your daughter doing? I thought she keeps the commandments. She keeps the feasts. She eats clean. She's Torah observant, blah, 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 blah. Well, then what is she doing having a Christmas gift-a-thon? I'm just like, how many times can I explain to you that they're going to children of their mothers are prostitutes, their mothers are strippers. They don't care. See, it's this. How can you came eating and drinking? If you knew the type of people that were sitting at your table, Jesus, you probably wouldn't. He's looking at him going, you want to talk about that? I'll have a conversation with you about that. And he just went for it. He knew what they were thinking. And he still told the guy in the synagogue on the Sabbath to stretch out his hand and healed it in front of these guys. And they lost their freaking minds on him because he healed on the Sabbath. He ate with prostitutes, male and females. He ate with tax collectors. He ate with sinners. If you have a problem with my daughter doing what she does, I'd love for you to qualify yourself. What do you do? Because I promise you, sweetheart, I've been around this block. I've been around this block more times than any of you can possibly even imagine. And I guarantee you, the majority of those people that say that, they're not doing anything. Or very little. You know? And I've shared with you, I found my daughter at the age of 16 underneath the freeways of Arlington, Texas, in working with a little tent city that they had developed underneath in the woods underneath the freeway. I caught her. I found out she was going down there by herself at the age of 16. What the hell are you doing? Well, I'm feeding these people. But you can't do this. Why? This is what you taught me how to do this. I go, but you're a girl. And you're 16, damn it. She's still going, man. She's still going. You know, she freaks me out. 3:00 in the morning on Harry Hines. You don't want to be on Harry Hines at 3 in the afternoon, let alone 3 in the morning. And she's out there, and God protects her. God, you know. Anyway, go to the Christmas party at your work. Be a blessing and a witness and a light to those people. Jesus would have. You know, Jesus went to the Feast of Tabernacles, where they had a water purification ritual that wasn't biblical, that wasn't scriptural. They added to the Torah. And he didn't bust them for doing that. Instead, he used that and declared himself living water that day at the height of that festival. He basically took what they did. That was right. The Torah people would have lost their freaking minds, man. That's not Jesus. That can't be Messiah. Just like the Pharisee said. You know what he did? He showed up anyway. He went and he didn't judge them for that water ritual. That was not sanctioned by Scripture. They added to the Torah. And he used that to describe himself as living water. I'm going to follow my Messiah, man. The rest of you religious people, you have a problem with me and my family? Come on over. Talk to me. They won't, because they know I'll just eat them up and spit them out. Go and go and be Jesus for the people at your work, man. Because can you name two more people at your job that are going to be able to show up and be Jesus to them? Probably not. So then you be the catalyst. I got your back.
All right. Cool. And that actually, I had another question, but I don't have it anymore because that helped.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I speak too
No,
much?
no, that's cool.
Oh, okay.
No. You anticipated well.
It's called meeting your needs. Anticipate the need, brother. Yeah, go,
Thanks.
man. And if your family's wants you to come over, you know what? Show up. Bring a pie. Bring a bottle of wine. You know what I'm saying? Do what Jesus would have done. He would have gone.
Yep. Sounds good. Thanks. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Okay. Leanne just mentioned something. Maybe you didn't answer my last one.
What's that?
So on that same line, our church, good church, you know, we enjoy it. It's a large church, 3 or 4 campuses, you know, it's probably on its way to being a mega church-ish thing, but good people. I like it. Yes, they still do the C&E thing. In the past, we just stay away. You know, I mean, I'm active on the safety and security team. I'm actually one of the leaders on that. I do that a lot. And like in the last couple of years, I've just like, nope, not available for any of the, you know, however many services they did. And, you know, they're always asking for people. It's like, yep, just staying away, just not going to do it. But especially this year, I thought, probably going to still stay away. But if there comes up to like, hey, we're really short people, we have, you know, we kind of need someone, especially in that role. And especially at this year, if it kind of, and it seems to have died down, but if it was still kind of a, you know, there were still these goofy pre-Palestine things, and there were some folks causing some disturbances at local churches and that kind of thing. If that kind of stuff were still heightened a little bit, I was like, well, then I will go. I'll volunteer help. I'll volunteer and help because I have some skill sets that can help in that area. But then, as I turned my thing to mute, Leanne's like, yeah, but Alan still stays away from church around Christmas. I was like, well, crap. That's what I was wondering about.
Well, I stay away from churches around Christmas simply because I don't want to hear the stuff. It's probably easier. So we talked about this the other day, a group of us. Tim was involved with it. And it's not about me, right? So we're supposed to be serving them when we go to church. Leave your Torah freak flag at home, go to church, right? And I do that, and I've done that. God knows I've done that. As of late, I don't know, but it might be a where the Lord, He might be doing something different with me right now. That's foreign to me, so I'm sussing it out. But I stay away from churches around Christmas and Easter simply because I don't want to. It's just so. It's not only is it maddening, it's grieving. But
right.
But that doesn't mean. I mean, that's not like a cardinal rule. Hey, you shouldn't go to church on. You know what I'm saying? If you can go and serve, that's awesome. I mean, again, that's being Jesus to people.
Yeah.
There's ministries, for example, that go to Burning Man. There's no way I could do that. It would be a stumbling block to me. I know who I am. Burning Man is not the place for me to go to pray for naked women. Let's put it that way. I'm just not that guy. So I'm not going to go there and do that. Sometimes I can't deal with church, where the rest of the time I can. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's very disappointing to see how many Protestant churches, evangelical churches, how very little their position on what's been going on in Israel is. That's really disheartening, and it's very frustrating and challenging to just show up and go, oh, everything's okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
It sucks.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I do like about ours is that, I mean, early on the leadership took a pretty strong pro-Israel stance. It's like, we need to be involving ourselves in prayer in this situation. So there, that's good.
Yeah, that is good.
I almost feel like I'm justifying my thoughts, but
No,
in the
good.
past, Christmas messages and such, it was like, he could have preached this message any day of the year. It wasn't heavily focused, but I just,
Right.
But
now, I've been obviously I have gone to churches. I have gone to church during Christmas time and Easter time and stuff. But when you're like on the worship band and stuff, it's just a little cringy,
Yeah, get that.
So it's a little different.
Right. Yeah, that I get that. That would be a little weirder. If I were playing bass with them, I probably would not participate.
Yeah, and so those were the main reasons why I didn't, because I was actually involved.
Cool.
And I would never suggest to any of you to do something I haven't done or do. Does that make sense? That's never going to happen. And there's plenty of people here that have known me for any amount of time outside of this reality called Chameleon Church that could attest to, whether I'm a hypocrite or not.
Well, I knew if I brought it up, and if you thought I was going the wrong way, you wouldn't hesitate to call me out. So,
yeah, no, not at all. One of my favorite things to do. Not you, but just call anybody out.
I'm not so sure. No.
Alyssa, are you watching questions or not on YouTube? It's kind of a little difficult for me, if that's possible, or Kevin or somebody. But anyway, good questions. All right, who else? I know there's other good questions out there. I know it. I can feel it.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Hey, Jane, what's up?
Same old, same old. No, I was listening to your reading about the Feast of Hanukkah and thinking about why it was, and the Maccabees got together and decided they were going to just get a temple back, and that we should celebrate that. They should celebrate that. And when people talk about celebrating, Yes, we have the feasts, and that's great and wonderful, and I love them all. But for Hanukkah, that's like kind of left up to us in a way. But I also think it gives us a little bit of leeway to celebrate some things. Like some people say, oh, well, we don't celebrate birthdays, or we don't do this or whatever. You know, Israel celebrates their Independence Day as well. There's certain things that I think that we have the leeway to celebrate if they're proper. And I think that Hanukkah, in a way, sheds, no pun intended, the light on that, to be able to celebrate things that are appropriate and right. And I think in general that God really likes a good party anyway, because if you look at all the feasts, it's all about communities and people and getting together. And what better way to share with people? I mean, you're talking about, well, you do this thing and people might not like what you do. And the lovely girls down in Texas, some people may not like what they do. But when we do that, it guarantees really, if we're giving to the poor and doing all those things, that we're not going to be poor. The scripture says that. So why are they not getting into the whole community and the whole spirit, really? Because that's what God wanted them to do. He didn't want all this legalism and all this crap. He wanted you to be into the whole spirit of it all. And then how can you do that if you're not doing that? And I think Denny was talking about, well, you know, why wouldn't he want to build the bicycles for the kids? That's part of the spirit of the whole thing. You know, are we, you know, I've been to Renaissance festivals. Do I touch the totem going in, or do I participate? Might drink a little mead, but, you know, do I participate in all the crap? No, but it's great fun to go there and talk to people and find out
any excuse I have to get in a kilt, into my kilt, I'm taking it.
We have a really good Renaissance. I haven't been to it because I don't have the time, but down in Murfreesboro, and this kid and his dad, as a high school project, actually built a castle and they live in it. Nice. And the Renaissance Fair is across from that castle. But I go by the castle a lot, but I've just never been to Renaissance. But anyway, so if you want a reason to come to Tennessee to wear your kilt, and hey, some good fly fishing I found for you too, so come on down. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I think that we don't need to overthink it, and we do have to keep in mind that we are the good news. Yeshua in us is the good news. How do we carry the good news if we're staying in our house and we're not going out, and we say, oh, we can't go to that Christmas party because why? I don't know. But no. Do I put a Christmas tree up in my house? No, but I used to put up 9 of them, you know, and 2 of them were 9 feet tall with 2,000 lights each and decorations and all the rest of it. Now they're in boxes ready to be done away with. But, you know, that was before I knew what was going on. Thank you, Michael Rood, for that. And then the continuation with you. But and I prefer to celebrate the feasts of our Lord because they're scriptural. Am I going to put menorahs in my front yard? You bet, because if they can have the Halloween display down the street and the Christmas display with 80 zillion lights like we used to do when my other husband was alive, then heck, I'm going to put 4 menorahs in my front yard. So yeah, they'll live. Anyway, awesome. Just hey to everyone, because I haven't seen you. Frankie, you better say something tonight. I haven't heard you in a while.
Look at that, man. Look at Jane's calling you out.
Miss Cynthia, love you, girl. Everyone.
It's Monday.
Love you, Jane. Love everybody too. God bless you all. This is going to be a crazy Hanukkah for me. I've got family friends staying with us, and they're into Christmas, and I'm just going to be, okay, let me just show you a little bit about Hanukkah.
Hey, give them lots of wine and donuts, you'll be fine.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. Sugar, yep, jelly donuts galore. Yep.
And you can use the latkes to soak up that wine afterward. Oh my God.
We're going to have some fun celebrating community. That's what it's all about.
You know what we sound like right now? Bunch of wine bibbers. I wish. Why can't you? Can you guys want to come over to the house for Hanukkah? Come on over. Have a big old party. Have a Hanukkah party here in Utah. This once a year thing at Shavuot. That's how we.
Leanne wants to know what's the deal with the jelly donuts.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, where did that come in?
They're like the best. I love jelly donuts at any time of the year. I live in Utah. They don't know about donuts. They have a problem with donuts in Utah for some reason. I don't know. There's a place near my daughter's house in the Jewish quarter in Dallas that make the best strawberry-filled powdered jelly donuts. Alyssa makes a good, darn good one too. What's with the jelly donuts you said? Jesus likes them, so I eat them.
Yeah, as
Jesus,
Leanne
what?
said, what's the deal?
Where
They're
did the jelly
good.
donuts come into play?
What's that?
Where did the jelly donuts come into play?
Who cares, man? Who cares? They're really good. No one cares.
The fried foods, the oil. It's got
Oh,
all
here-
of that.
Yeah. Here comes Nathalie. Oh, look at Nathalie was coming up to set us all straight. She was gonna slap us one. Oh my gosh.
When are you going to make T-shirts that say Jesus loves jelly donuts?
Yeah. Strawberry filled jelly donuts. Not raspberry. Strawberry. Oh my gosh. All right, who else? I know a whole lot more of you has got a whole lot more of you. What was that? What does that even mean?
Well, we're pretty excited. Next week, we get to go and celebrate Hanukkah with a bunch of other people from Montana that we've never met.
Again?
And, yeah. So it'll be pretty excited.
Dude,
We're
can you get a spy cam and like
yes,
videotape
we'll do it.
hanging
We'll
out
do
with
a
all these
live
strange
feed.
people?
we're hoping that we'll be the only strange people there, and hopefully everybody will be more normal. But looking forward to it.
Man, that sounds like a lot of fun. It's only like 8 hours for me, right?
Hey, it's just right up the freeway.
Oh man, through a whole bunch of treacherous winter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could do it. You could do it.
Don't make me call your names out. Come on, bring it. Tim, I know you have something to share about Hanukkah because you shared it with us. You should probably share it with the group. You should probably share it with everybody. Frank, what are you doing over there? Don't be looking like you just ate a whole bunch of jelly donuts.
Where's Tim?
Tim's right below you, 2 down. Oh, where'd he go? He's moving around. Did he just leave? Did Tim just leave?
No, I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so what I was saying was with the guys was the thing about Hanukkah that really surprises me that so many people miss, including Jewish people, is that they talk about that it took 8 days to make the oil, but that's not it. It's the connection to Torah. Because in the Torah, with the tabernacle and with the temple, it took 8 days to establish the altar. That's why it's called the Feast of Dedication. They rededicated the altar. And, I was just saying that
Good stuff.
For a holiday that's not biblically mandated, I can't think of another one that's so chock full of biblical things. And we, as the temple of the Holy Spirit, it's a great opportunity for us to rededicate our own temple and our own altar, the altar of our heart. And it's a time of festivity, but also it can be a season of dedication. And so many people miss out on that. And I mean, it's not mandated, but if you're going to pick a holiday, there's none other that has more biblical content. I think the other thing is that especially for disciples, Hanukkah with Maccabees and all that stuff, it's so important that people learn that stuff, because especially when you come to the Gospels and the first part of Acts, have you ever wondered, like, where did all these messianic expectations come from? Well, it's all Maccabees. Why was everybody expecting a military leader? Well, if you just read the first part of the book, that's not really clear. You know, it's like, where do these people have all these expectations of what Messiah does? Well, it has everything to do with what happened with the Maccabees. And you have to remember that they rededicated the temple, but they were still occupied because they didn't have the Ark of the Covenant. If the Ark was in the temple, nobody would occupy them. And so dedication, Hanukkah, you know, that's why they were yearning for a Judah Maccabee to come and deliver them, because they didn't have the Ark. And so it was, of course, it was going to be military, because everything about the Ark and about the temple was military, if you bother to read it. So, you know, I think you only, as a believer, you only do yourself a favor by really diving in deep on that stuff, because the New Testament, as much as I hate that term, that it comes alive when you understand that context. And, you know, I think that's just so important, because, you know, for instance, read Maccabees and it'll blow your mind that the two disciples, Simon and Clopas, were questioning if he was the Messiah because he died on the road to Emmaus. Well, Emmaus is the scene of a huge victory in the Maccabean revolt. So the fact that the Messiah shows up on the road to Emmaus and they recognize him at Emmaus is like huge. But so much of that just goes over people's head, like we see in The Chosen and stuff, because they don't know the context. So Hanukkah is like just a wonderful, wonderful time to really make the Gospels and Acts and context just come alive and make the scripture pop and really get into alignment and in the zone. And also, I think it's just a great season for us to, you know, light our candle. That's just what I think.
That's good stuff, man.
Alan, last year, my husband, who comes along for the ride with me, as Denny said, he and I prayed every time we lit a candle. We prayed for a family member to be dedicated to the Lord, for Father God to call upon their hearts and to bring them to Christ. And so each night we prayed for somebody specific regarding that. And then we also, when we lit the candle, we would rededicate ourselves. We would rededicate each of our own hearts, our temple, if you will, like Tim just said. So it became a rededication ceremony of ours, as well as remembering the rededication that the Maccabees did.
That's awesome.
So it was very simple. I mean, you know, but it was neat.
Yeah, that's rad. Hey, did you guys notice Tim's prophetic gifting at work just there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? That's awesome. See, things like that, I love it when you guys share stuff like that. Hey, you know, we're attributing this night, you know, we have 8 nights, we can pray for family members. We can, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, I remember Julian had a little felt, like a felt Hanukkah, remember? And he'd like put a little felt candle on the little felt candelabra. And it's just, you know, if you want to make it weird, make it weird. But other than that, we want to pray for friends. We want to pray for family, coworkers. We want to pray for, like you said, we want to pray for our temples. We want to pray for our alignment. We want to pray and bless the poor. We want to be Jesus to a world that is living in deception. there's this, I posted, a couple weeks ago. I'm going to read the post because it's a good one. Well, not because I posted it. I didn't even write it. I just kind of massaged the text a little bit to make it flow a little bit. But it's this should help us because, right? I mean, look at what's going on out there regarding Israel. You know what? I'm gonna wear my Israeli IDF muffler the 8 days of Hanukkah around town. You know, might get into a fight. Someone might want to try and kick my ass, but you know what? Billions around the world are about to celebrate the birth of a Jewish man born in the city of Bethlehem 2,000 plus years ago, in the country you don't believe Jews lived in before 1948. That's what we're dealing with. That's what's going on out there right now. That's the spirit outside your door right now. That's the spirit outside your window right now. It's not slowing down. It's getting thicker and more prevalent here in the United States. You know, was it you, Frank, that sent me a video of a California school took down the American flag and they raised the Palestinian flag at a school? That's illegal, I think. Right? I mean, on and on and on. You know, ceasefire was broken minutes after it was created. You know, it's bad. It just keeps on going. All right. Hanukkah, Feast of Lights. We're supposed to be a light on a hill. Jesus is the light. We're supposed to be light bearers. We're supposed to be putting on the armor of light. Light. I don't know how dark your community is. I know some of you live in some dark communities. I don't. I can agitate the darkness that is here easily. And I have no problem doing that. In fact, the IDF muffler that I got from a friend of mine from Israel, the first day I wore it, I got hit. I got in a car accident with a Muslim named Abram. Tell me that's a coincidence. And I got out of my car wearing this IDF freaking muffler with the Star of David on it in Hebrew, and he was like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Shouldn't hit my car, dude." You know, it's a real thing, man. I'm not quite sure if you still have a disconnect between you and what's really going on out there. I'm trying to help you come to an understanding. Hey, I hope you don't have to experience any weird, goofy stuff that's based in the spiritual realm, compressing down on our earth realm regarding this Israeli anti-Semitism, all that stuff. I hope that you are spared every possible thing regarding that. I pray that over every single one of you, that you don't have to deal with an anti-Semitic spirit, that you don't have to deal with a demonic spirit of hatred for Israel or the Jewish people. I pray that over you. But then there's guys like me that go look for it. I go looking for I do. I am a giant slayer. You know, if you don't go looking for Nephilim, you're probably not going to find one. Did I just say that out loud? I'm sorry. Someone speak. Someone talk.
If you don't go looking, how do you practice?
What's that?
If you don't go looking, how would you practice?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're supposed to be, you know, raising the dead, healing the sick, casting out demons, all those things. Well, if you're not looking for them, and, you know, I'm not saying be antagonistic, but you're in a place, you're in your car, you've got your muffler on, you've got, you know, I've got Hanukkahs in my front yard, whatever it is, whether it's just being the light. But if you're just hiding it under a bushel or staying in your house or not doing anything, how are you going to practice? And then when it really comes down to it, because this, brown stuff is going to hit the whirly sooner than everybody thinks, and it's happening right around them, and nobody is really paying attention. I am, because I'm in one of those places. But when they get ready to clamp all this down, and you were talking about, are they going to make you eat pig or do all this kind of stuff? I think it's actually going to be worse than all of that. And it's going to be on a global level. This is not just, 20 people. This is millions and millions of people. And they don't want us left in the world. So we better practice now before it gets to that point.
Yeah. Thanks, Jade.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put a damper on stuff. No, but we have this beautiful community. We have a community that celebrates feasts and that does all these right things in obedience to God. And that protects us because we are doing those things, but also creates a community. And it's not a very large community. And you were talking, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, about what is it, 144,000 that God's going to choose out. And it's like, you were saying that's not a hard number to comprehend when you look around you, because there's always a remnant.
Yep.
So we're building an 8-foot menorah out of wood. We just couldn't, with the wood, we couldn't make a Hanukkah. We just couldn't. So we're making it a menorah. We're painting it right now in the garage. And we have a small house in Spokane Valley. It's not very big, and our front yard is not that big, but it's going to go. It's going to go right in our front yard. So we'll let you know
how it goes.
We'll send a picture. We'll get a picture of it. Also, on the jelly donuts, I kind of think that they're probably more historically accurate than latkes, right? Latkes. Because there were no potatoes. There were no potatoes in Europe before the 16th century. And I guarantee you there was sweetbreads in Jerusalem. Anyway, just a thought.
I like the way you think. but I want latkes as my jelly donuts. Yeah, I was going to say, please, at least pictures. But if you got video of that menorah in your front yard, that'll be awesome. I'll try and do a little GoPro spy camera on me while I'm walking around town with my idea of, anyway. Hopefully I'm not going to say anything, but I'm sure you are prepared for any stupidity that might occur. Can you believe that we have to be concerned about that this year? I mean, it's crazy out there. It's crazy. It's just insane. Oh, I love it. It's just, you can't, like we've said before, you don't have an Elijah without an Ahab and a Jezebel. You don't have the second coming of Messiah without this kind of nonsense. It's just the way it works. This should be an interesting Festival of Lights. If we do it right? Shine our light. Don't shy. Don't hide it. If you're going to wave a freak flag, here's a freak flag. Jesus is the Messiah. He's the light. He was more than likely conceived during the Feast of Dedication. Anyone who gives you any problem, just remind them that Jesus is the light. Don't you know that Jesus is the light of the world? Hello? So when I first moved here, I mentioned this before, we lived in a house that on the mountain that looked down on the valley, and the house below us had this huge 15 foot Star of David. Remember that, Alyssa? And I remember going for Christmas, right? And I remember asking our first ex-Mormon friend about it. Are they Jewish? He goes, no. That represents the star that the wise men followed to find Jesus. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen that star around in a long time. Who would have the cojones? Can you say that? Can I say cojones? Who would have the sand to put up a 12 to 15 foot Star of David on the rooftop right now, today? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've got Star of David's on my front porch. I mean, I've got that. We've got mezuzah, but my wife, she's nuts. She's talked about let's put up an Israeli flag on our front on our front of our property. I mean, I've got some, but I don't know how prudent that would be.
Talk about unintentional prophetic utterances. The wise men looking for the Star of David to point to the Messiah.
Well, you know, those Mormons. Yeah. Interesting, huh? Frank, you've been called out twice, man. Ryan, how's it going, buddy?
Hey,
Hey,
I figured
what's up?
I would hop in. What's up? Got my little Hanukkah sweater on.
Oh my God.
Everybody thinks that these dreidels are like middle fingers, so it's kind of makes me happy. It's like, yeah, that's great. But I wear this to church and makes everybody uncomfortable, but it's great. I just figured I'd pop in. I don't know. We've been doing Hanukkah a lot for a while, but I got some decorations. I'm ready to go. And you know, I got all the things because it's fun. You know, you got to
That was
have
a Joe
it all.
Bidenism, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I think something fun for us, I was just going to share something practical. Something fun that we do is we kind of theme the nights every night of Hanukkah for gifts. So we'll do like a favorite things night. We'll do like a book night. We'll do a family activity night. So the gifts are all kind of themed around that. And that's kind of fun. I found that on Hallmark. It's kind of a fun little Hallmark thing. But yeah, so I just figured I'd share that. And I have lots of other little tips if anybody wants, but we try to make it more fun than Christmas, you know, got to compete and make it happen. So, but yeah, that's all I got. You thought I was going to talk way longer, didn't you? He's gone. Where's Jason? Gosh. Pray for Jason. He's having some health stuff, so pray for him. But hi, Frank.
That makes 3 times. Now you have to talk. Oh, 4 with Denny.
Is anybody else doing a Hanukkah party?
Okay, Alyssa, I'll say something. Hey, everybody.
Sorry, I had to take a quick call. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Alan. Yeah, you know, going along with what Tim was saying, there's so much running through my mind right now. One was their disobedience. If Israel did not disobey, this would not have happened. If they have kept with the original feast, continuing in obedience, and then, you know, the north and south, the division, Assyria, Babylon, and look what happened. You know, that's a good reminder. However, even though in this disobedience and the destruction, and now the rededication, it kind of shines light on us, as like Tim said, the rededication of our spirit, of our life, and God uses that to make us see the error of our ways and to realign back into obedience. And then he gives us the opportunity to have a feast like this, like with the latkes and the jelly donuts or what have you. But still, we should not deter but continue looking upon, hey, you know what, this is about remaining in obedience. Concerning the menorah, I think I mentioned to you folks on band that I posted some time ago, and the Lord showed me before last Passover that the crucifixion, I don't know if you guys remember, I mentioned this, the crucifixion is a menorah. You have Yeshua in the middle. Each side, you have the thieves. You count their hands, 3 on one side, 3 on one side, 6, Yeshua in the middle. Then you want to go more technical, you count all their heads, 9 in total. Crazy things that I see. I don't know. Ever since getting into Torah, but the question I had, Ellen, I don't know if you have time, if you want to touch on this, or maybe next week, about the what was it? It said the Mass of Christ, or the Christ Mass.
Right. Well, Christmas is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the word Christmas comes from, it's Catholic. It's the Mass of Christ. You know how Catholics have Mass?
Yeah.
Well, the Mass of Christ is that's where Christmas comes from. So that's why I tell
Right.
people I'm not a Catholic.
Yeah. And this morning, forgive me if kind of yawning or stretching. Got up early, and then they was troubling me, so I did furthermore research, and then I found some information concerning that. Pretty good information about that. Kind of ironic that the Mass deals with death, and then they're going to turn around to claim the birth. So it's causing a lot of confusion on that, But
well, maybe you haven't do you not know that they don't have to have any actual reasoning or logic or intellect behind any of the things they come up with?
You're right. Absolutely correct. And when the word that you used today, I went to service yesterday, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just, and that's the word, Alan. Grieve. My whole soul and spirit was just grieved. Yeah. And came home, and I was just in a just that crappy mood. It's just like, oh man, that like somebody punch you and all that air comes out of you. Then I started questioning, Lord, hey. And then somebody asked me, well, Frank, you know what? If you don't believe like us or what have you, why are you here with us? Why are you, why are you here and whatnot? And the Lord spoke to me this. It's for two reasons, you there. Challenge and stimulation. Challenge. The challenge is to make sure what I believe is correct, even though they're false, whether it's from the pulpit, from the parishioners, the pastors, individually or cumulatively. It's for my challenge to, okay, you've come into the truth. Now toe that line, stay in the boundaries, and continue your trajectory. And then the stimulation, deals with life, stagnation, decay. But that is the stimulation for the challenge to keep, okay, Lord, what is the truth? What is the truth? Truth, as you always talk about, Ellen, so fluid and so confusing, and will like the pattern of the snake, weave you every direction except the straight and narrow. And this was a very comforting for me this morning, and a re-strengthening from being exasperated from yesterday's Sunday service.
It's it can be tough. I mean, put yourself in Jesus's sandals for a minute. The religious leaders of the day were going to kill him because I believe, I know for a fact that many of them knew that he was Messiah. They went with the plan to kill him anyway.
Yeah.
And imagine being Messiah and being treated like a dog and being treated like, and having people literally come at you accusing you of not knowing what you're doing, being a heretic, being a blasphemer, being demonic. And he's just like, wow, all I did was, they were sick and I healed them. And you're saying that's demonic. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Imagine the injustice that came at him all day, every day, for whether it's a year and a half or 3 years, for the amount of time that his ministry was. Imagine having people come at you convinced that you were not who you are.
Yeah.
But actually bad and wrong and incorrect. Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And even before
That's
Pontius
why.
Pilate, he even, he didn't open him. He was led to the slaughter like a lamb, and he didn't open up his mouth.
Yeah. That's why this morning I posted on Facebook. Even though what you think is right, you have Danny. I know you made a comment on that. The post that I put this morning. It was concerning what I was experiencing yesterday. But thank you.
You're welcome. I can't tell you how many times I just want to go, okay, oh really? Okay, you'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see. And when you find out, it'll be too late because you're gonna die. I want to tell people this all day long, but I don't. I put up with I put up with the bull crap, and I try to help them.
My favorite scene. I don't know if you guys seen the movie Mad World.
Maybe a long time ago.
when the fire department came up with the ladder, and they were all trying to jump the ladder, and the fireman told, "Whoa, well, you see," and sure enough, they all jump, and the freaking thing went haywire, throwing everybody coconut trees and telephone wires. Anyway.
And that's why we ask you guys to continue to pray for us and our family. It would be really easy to just say, you know what, piss off and go home. You know what I'm saying? Take my ball and go home. but we can't. And that's why we keep doing this, because it is so. We just want everyone to have a sound, come to the full knowledge of Messiah. And start understanding the basics of the Bible. That's all, That's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to do anything crazy.
Yeah.
As we've been called to do this, so we're going to do it.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Good to see everyone. Natalie, Cynthia, Lisa, Lenny, Leanne, Denny, Carrie, Jane.
Frank, thank you for that, because I have some of the same, it's just kind of like, it's almost exhausting to come home from church because so many things are going through your mind, and there's so many things that you have to bite your lip on because you can't say those things, because you can't, not wanting to offend, but you just don't want to, kind of like Alan says, raise your Torah freak flag, or make it so that when the Spirit does touch them, that they won't listen to you. And we need these people to listen to us. And so I've had that. I was going to church and going to church and going to church. And then like the past few weeks, it's like, why am I doing this? And then it's like, so I have that struggle in my prayers to God. It's like, okay, where am I supposed to go? Am I supposed to change churches because maybe I'm not supposed to be in this one? But I don't know. I know that I need to be with a group of believers because that's what we're supposed to be doing. But it is a struggle sometimes.
Well, here's something that just popped into my head. The disciples, the apostles, whatever you want to call them, they went to regular synagogue with the Pharisees. Do what the Pharisees tell you to do. They sit on Moses' seat. Don't be like them, but you do what they do. You do what they instruct you to do. And then they had to get together and regroup. So it's not like this has never happened before. The Pharisees, Jesus said, sit on Moses' seat, and you obey them. Don't be like them, but obey them. That's what we've done. I mean, we've literally have done that. We didn't leave Christianity when we came to these revelations. We didn't. God didn't tell us to. We went to one church for 9.5 years because he told us to go there, and it was demonic. Then he moved us to this church for 9 years, which was amazing. And then we go to Utah, and here we are. So you just have to do what the Lord tells you to do. And if he tells you to go to a certain church, they don't have to know what they're doing. God does. All right. What else? Who else? Who else would like to share? Anyone? Ron, I see you, Ron. Good to see you, buddy.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I would like to share a little bit. I been, a Christian for a while now. And I have been like involved in the Messianic movement, and but then it became like ritualistic. Um, and now like I'm going back to what the Bible says, and it's been quite the journey. Still going through not only the feast but also like dietary requirements and how to navigate. My husband is like, oh, you have to be careful, what you're listening to and this and that, just because of our previous experience. And I just ask for prayer for both of us and our family to keep on trudging, because there are times that there's this little fear that wants to come, especially with everything that's going on right now. But we have to be courageous, and be the light, like we've been discussing. So yeah, that's my little 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I agree. You have to be careful with who you listen to. If we ever say anything or suggest anything that you don't think is correct, please say something, and then we'll have that. We can have that convo. We're open books. We wear our hearts on our sleeves. We fear God, not man, and we work for excellence. We strive for excellence. We don't believe the one talent guy is the model we should be going after. So yeah, if we ever say anything that makes you that you're not sure about, be sure to ask.
Yeah, no, everything like it makes sense. Like I've gone and read the scripture, and yeah, plain simple. Not It's clear. It's pretty clear. There are little things that I still have questions about, but I know, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I'll try to do that as much as I can.
Okay.
Because I really I'm learning a lot.
Where are you from, Nilda?
I'm in California.
No, where are you from though?
Me, Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. That is the greatest scene in that movie, man. I'm telling you right now. You know what I'm talking about?
Not exactly.
No? West Side
No.
Story?
Oh, okay.
Oh.
It's just that.
The dance, man, the school dance. That's the best scene.
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
All right, back to reality.
It's so good. Oh, pray for. Actually, now that you mention it, pray for Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has changed so much, and it's going through so many things. As a whole. Um, and it's heartbreaking, because it has changed so much. Yeah.
There's a lot of that going around. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening to Europe. It's happening to us here. It's It's all designed to bring us to a place where we will welcome a beast system. Yes, Nathalie. What is Nathalie doing? Hey, what's up?
We gotta go. Gotta feed these kids.
You've got a party going on over there.
We do. It's wonderful. Got my grandkids and my daughter and son-in-law and the dogs, the whole works. Missing one daughter, that's all.
I also see Rick.
Yep, he's back.
What's up?
Hiding in the back.
I'm not hiding. I'm in plain view.
Can you hear him?
What do you say?
I don't know. You're
I
too
said
far away.
I'm not hiding. I'm in plain view.
Natalie, did you have a question?
No, I was just, I have to come, we're mirroring this off my iPad, so I can't like really, if I want to do anything, I have to get up and come over here, and it's a little awkward, but at least we get to listen and watch. Love all you guys. Can't wait to see you at Shavuot. Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for saying hi.
So I'm gonna sign off now and work on dinner.
Okay. Ciao.
Ciao.
Like one crazy family, the Chameleon Church here.
Yeah, we're heading out too. Blessings, everyone. We'll
What?
send the picture of our blazing menorah in the front yard.
Oh my gosh. That's going to be awesome. Please do.
Yep, we will.
Practice safe fire.
Yes.
All right. We want to give anybody that has that wants to say anything or share something, give you the opportunity to do so before we call it. All right, then. We will see you tomorrow morning, 8:45 a.m. Central for the Chameleon Church Show. I think Chris is back in stateside. He should be there, as well as Pastor Lenny Parada. We will see you then.
God bless y'all.
The views and opinions expressed during our broadcasts are solely those of the broadcast producers, hosts, and/or guests, etc., and are not necessarily the views or opinions of the Travelog Network, its sponsors, or affiliates.